what if I told you that to, truly meditate, you don't actually need to clear your mind at all?
Right, which is wild to think about.
It is. Instead, you need to map your breathing directly to the Big Bang, human DNA, and the empty space inside an atom. So welcome to today's deep dive. We are thrilled you're joining us.
Absolutely. It's a really fascinating one today.
Because normally when people talk about meditation, there's this expectation of simplicity. You sit on a cushion, you take a deep breath, and you try to mentally step into an empty, quiet room to escape the noise.
Yeah, you're supposed to just detach from everything.
Exactly. But today, we have a source on the table that shatters that completely.
It absolutely does. We are looking at a 2019 text by Jürgen Lehnert. It was published on MandelaMatrix.net, and it's called The I Am Meditation.
Right.
And what makes this piece of writing so compelling is that it doesn't want you to retreat from the universe at all. It demands that you actively participate in its mechanics.
Which is such a shift.
It really is. It takes these massive abstract concepts, astrophysics, cellular biology, ancient mythology, and maps them directly onto the physical movements of your head and your lungs.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a literal application of that old esoteric concept of mapping the macrocosm onto the microcosm.
Which, to put it plainly, for those who might not, use that phrase every day, just means taking the entire massive universe, the macrocosm, and squishing it down to fit perfectly inside the human body. The microcosm.
Spot on.
So our mission for this deep dive is to guide you through this exact sequence. We're going to decode how a few very targeted breaths can connect your individual ego to the dawn of time, all the way down to the atomic structure of your own body.
It's an incredibly ambitious text. To really grasp it, we have to start where the text starts, which is actually before the physical body even moves.
Oh, right, the pre-movement stuff.
Exactly. The very first line establishes the setting before time and space even exist. It says, "In the beginning, there is I, a point of light within the vacuum."
Okay, let's unpack this.
Yeah.
A point of light within the vacuum. Because it immediately defines this I as, quote, "the ultimate observer that observes the observer, eternally present, never changing."
It's heavy stuff right out of the gate.
It really is. I have to admit, the observer that observes the observer is a bit of a brain twister for me. It feels like standing between two mirrors and watching your reflection cascade into infinity.
That infinite loop is entirely intentional, though. In philosophy and quantum mechanics, we often talk about the observer effect, the idea that the mere observation of a phenomenon inevitably changes that phenomenon.
Right, just by looking at it, you alter it.
Exactly. But Lehnert is pointing to something deeper here. If you are observing a thought, who is observing you observing the thought?
Oh, wow. Yeah.
The text is asking you to strip away everything physical, every passing emotion, until you reach an awareness so fundamental that it just is. It doesn't change. It is the eternal witness.
And once it establishes that baseline, the text signals the start of the actual physical practice, right? With a single sound, which is OM.
Yes. And right after that OM, the movement actually begins.
So you breathe in and you physically lift your head towards the heavens. And the text labels this upward movement as I, and it associates it with this really fascinating cluster of concepts.
It does. It packs a lot into that one motion.
It represents the One, the Father, the Son, the Big Bang, the source of everything, and what it calls the plus pole.
Which is a very deliberate grouping of ideas, if you think about it. If you look at the Big Bang, you are talking about the ultimate outward expansion of energy.
Pure creation.
Pure explosive creation. And historically and mythologically, ancient cultures often assigned masculine archetypes like the father or the son to this kind of active, outward radiating energy.
So you look up and you are literally inhaling the explosive force of the cosmos. But, you can't just expand forever. Eventually, you have to breathe out.
Right. What goes up must come down.
Exactly. And when you exhale slowly, the text instructs you to lower your head towards your lap. This downward motion is labeled AM. And the associations here are the direct opposite of looking up.
The complete inverse.
Yes, the two, the mother matter, the womb, the core of the earth, and the minus pole.
Notice how the physics shifts here, too. We went from the outward expansion of the Big Bang to the dense, inward gravitational pull of the Earth's core.
It's a huge contrast.
Massive. Matter requires gravity. It is receptive, nurturing, and grounding, which, aligns perfectly with the ancient archetypes of the mother or the womb.
I love how visual and physical this is. Just think about the mechanics of what you are doing in your chair. By physically looking up to the heavens and then looking down to the core of the earth, You are turning your own spine into a giant cosmic battery.
A literal battery, that's a great way to put it.
Because energy needs a positive terminal and a negative terminal to flow.
Right.
You are acting as the actual conduit between the ultimate cosmic plus pole and the grounding minus pole.
What's fascinating here is how the author brilliantly synthesizes that hard science with those ancient archetypes. He is establishing dualism.
Right. Opposite.
Exactly. Our physical reality, in a very literal sense, is built on opposites that need to be reconciled. Positive and negative charges in an atom, day and night, creation and reception.
You can't have one without the other.
You cannot have a battery with only a plus pole. The current just wouldn't move. So by repeatedly lifting and lowering your head with your breath, you are forcing your body to embody the fundamental tension of the entire universe.
You are stretching the rubber band of reality as far as it will go. But obviously, we don't live in the Big Bang, and we don't live in the Earth's core. We live right here in the messy middle.
Which brings us to the next vital phase of this practice.
Right. Having established those massive extremes of the heavens and the earth, the text now asks us to find where we exist within that tension. So you breathe in, and instead of looking up or down, you lift your head straight ahead to the horizon.
And the horizon is the literal meeting point between the sky and the earth.
Yeah, exactly.
The text calls this position that, or, I am together. It represents the three, the child, the Buddha, the middle, the synthesis, the here and now. And it explicitly notes that you should pause for zero before breathing out.
The idea of the horizon being the child makes perfect sense when you think about dialectics. You have a thesis, the sky, the plus pole. You have an antithesis, the earth, the minus pole.
And they crash together to create a synthesis.
The heavens and the earth create the child. But the script takes a very unexpected turn here. After you do another round of the up and down breaths, recharging that cosmic battery, you return your head to the horizon. And the text asks you to manifest as what it calls something or somebody.
And it defines that something very explicitly. It says this is the individual expression of the I.
Like your literal self.
Right. It is your personality, your ego I, your thoughts, your feelings, your beliefs, what you do, your separateness, and your uniqueness.
So what does this all mean? Because I have to admit, I'm a little confused by this directive. Wait, I thought meditation was always about losing or destroying the ego.
That is the standard narrative, yeah.
Right. The whole modern spiritual goal of dissolving the self, realizing that your individual personality is just an illusion, and becoming one with the universe. Why is this specific script explicitly inviting you to manifest your ego I, your separateness and your uniqueness?
It seems contradictory.
It feels like we're doing the exact opposite of what a guru would tell us to do.
This raises an important question, and it highlights perhaps the most radical part of Leonard's text. It aggressively pushes back against that commodified idea of ego death in modern spirituality.
Interesting.
Yeah, the text frames the ego not as a disease to be cured, but as the child, a necessary, intended synthesis of the universe's forces.
Like the universe didn't go through the immense trouble of a big bang and the formation of the Earth's core just so you could sit on a cushion and pretend you don't exist.
Precisely. Bypassing the ego is a form of denying reality. The text insists that you must acknowledge the physical, tangible reality of your something status.
So your weird quirks.
Your quirks, your specific thoughts, your irritating habits, your passions, they are the current localized manifestation of that original point of light.
Wow.
If you deny your separateness, you are denying the very synthesis that the universe spent billions of years creating. You have to firmly plant your feet on the horizon and claim your space as a specific somebody before you can genuinely move forward.
You can't transcend a reality that you refuse to acknowledge. I mean, that is incredibly validating. It's saying, yes, you are separate, you have an ego, and that's a beautiful functioning mechanism of the cosmos.
It really reframes the whole concept of self.
It does. But knowing the trajectory of this text, it doesn't let you just sit there and marvel at your own personality for long, does it?
Far from it. Once your individual ego has been firmly established on the horizon, the script forcefully shatters those boundaries.
Oh, here we go.
But not by telling you the ego is bad. Instead, it shifts your perspective so drastically that the boundaries naturally dissolve.
It does this by zooming all the way out and then all the way in. You go through another cycle of the up and down breaths, tracing that positive and negative current again, and you bring your head back to the horizon. But this time, you are looking to embrace everything.
The text prompts you to say, I spread my wings to embrace everything. My atoms are part of all existing atoms.
Which is a beautiful image.
And then it introduces a very specific biological concept. It states that everything contains the 64 DNA codons that make up all possible combinations of the human genome.
Here's where it gets really interesting. Think about this like zooming in and out of a massively high-resolution digital photograph.
Okay, I like that.
In the previous phase, we were looking closely at the subject of the photo you. Your ego, your personality, your unique somebody. But now we zoom out to see the entire global tapestry. DNA functions essentially as a biological alphabet.
Right, a code.
It uses a combination of 4 base pairs to create 64 specific codons. Every single human being, past, present, and future, is written using that exact same source code. You are a unique combination, yes, but you are built from the exact same master algorithm as everyone else on the planet.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, we can see how the author is taking a concept that usually feels mystical and floaty, this idea of universal oneness, and locking it into literal, measurable biology.
It makes it so tangible.
Exactly. You aren't just spiritually connected to humanity. You are biologically sequenced from the exact same library.
It grounds the esoteric right in the undeniable. But then the meditation takes that digital photograph and zooms all the way in. We zoom past the face, past the cells, past the DNA itself, all the way down to the atomic level.
And this is where it gets wild.
And what happens when you zoom in that far? The image completely disappears. You look to the horizon to embrace no think.
The script makes a stark scientific claim here. It says, my body is made up out of 99.999% space. I am really no thing. I am the space between my protons.
I just marvel at the physics of that realization. Like, if you look at the structure of an atom, the nucleus, the protons and neutrons, is incredibly tiny compared to the total size of the atom.
It's vanishingly small.
Yeah. If the nucleus were the size of a marble sitting on the 50-yard line of a football stadium, the electrons would be tiny gnats buzzing around in the highest bleachers.
Yeah.
Everything in between is just empty space.
Just a vacuum.
We spend so much time worrying about our solid, unique ego, our jobs, our beliefs. But from a physics standpoint, we are practically just walking clouds of a vacuum.
It's a very humbling thought, and it shows why this approach is so devastatingly effective compared to traditional spiritual metaphors.
How so?
Well, often when we are told to let go of the ego, we hear phrases like become like water or dissolve into the light.
Which sounds poetic, but it's really hard for the logical, analytical brain to actually grasp and apply.
Exactly. The logical brain resists it. But Lehnert bypasses that resistance by anchoring the meditation in quantum physics.
You can't argue with it.
Right. It's not a metaphor that you are mostly empty space. It is a peer-reviewed scientific fact. Your physical body is, quite literally, an illusion of solidity created by electromagnetic forces. You are a localized vibration in a vast emptiness.
It forces your logical brain to concede the spiritual premise. You built your ego up, you acknowledged its uniqueness, you connected it to the entire human race through the biological code of DNA, and then you realize that structurally you are mostly a vacuum.
It is the ultimate release of the ego, achieved through science rather than mysticism.
Which brings us full circle. We've traveled from the abstract point of light to the explosive force of the Big Bang, to the gravitational pull of the Earth's core, through the human genome, and finally down to the vast empty space inside a single atom.
It's an overwhelming amount of cosmic territory to cover in one sitting.
It really is. So how do we practically apply this massive realization? How do we integrate it? Well, we return to the breath itself. The final section of the text closes with an OM, mirroring how we began.
Bringing it all back.
But then it offers a final, crucial rule for the practitioner. It says that the effect of the meditation is dramatically increased when you pause after each breath for a few seconds. The goal is to enjoy what it calls the zero space between breathing in and breathing out.
This instruction is the linchpin of the entire practice, that zero space. Let's just look at the physical and physiological reality of that moment.
Okay.
You've breathed out completely, your lungs are entirely empty. For a few seconds, before your autonomic nervous system steps in and forces you to inhale again, you are existing in a suspended pause.
There's nothing happening.
Nothing. There is no upward movement to the heavens. There is no downward movement to the earth. There is no current flowing between the plus and minus poles.
It's complete and utter stillness. And if we connect this final piece of advice back to the very first sentence of the text, remember, the text started with, in the beginning there is I, a point of light within the vacuum.
That is the brilliant architectural symmetry of this practice.
It's so clever.
The zero space you create by physically holding your breath with empty lungs is meant to physically replicate that original cosmic vacuum. You are recreating the pre-creation conditions right there in your living room.
Wow.
You are simulating the environment where the true ultimate observer was born. You are creating a micro vacuum inside your own chest. I want you to try this later today, or even right now if you are in a place where you can. Take a breath and then breathe out completely.
Just let it all out.
And don't breathe in yet. Just hold it. Notice what that physical pause actually feels like inside your lungs. For most of us, our instinct is to panic slightly because we associate empty lungs with a lack of oxygen.
We feel like we need to fix it immediately.
Exactly. But if you just sit in it, there's a profound, immense quiet there, a total suspension. In that tiny gap between exhaling and inhaling, you aren't doing anything. You aren't your job, your personality, or your ego. You are just pure potential waiting for the next spark of life. It is the physiological equivalent of the space between your protons. You are forcing the rhythm of your macro-level respiratory system to match your micro-level atomic structure.
That's incredible to think about.
The text suggests that this is where the real power of meditation lies. The transformative insight isn't just in the breathing, it's in the empty spaces between the breathing.
It completely reframes what a daily meditation practice can be. It's not just sitting quietly and trying to ignore your grocery list,
Yeah.
It's an active physical cosmology. You are deliberately acting out the tension of the universe with your own spine.
And you are actively reconciling it. You acknowledge the immense, terrifying scale of the cosmos, the Big Bang, the Earth's core, the infinite void, but you process all of it through the simple, inescapable grounding rhythm of your own breath. You make the infinite manageable.
It is an incredible journey packed into a very concise text. Just to recap the sheer scale of what this exercise accomplishes, simply by moving your head up, down, and to the horizon, and intentionally pacing your breath, this text takes you through the initial creation of the universe.
The fundamental duality of physical nature.
Right. And the manifestation and validation of your individual personality, the biological reality of human DNA, and the quantum emptiness of atomic structure.
It is a complete cosmological model executed in about 5 to 10 minutes of sitting in a chair.
It's unbelievably efficient.
It requires no belief in dogma, only an understanding of basic physics and a willingness to observe yourself.
And it leaves us with something profoundly humbling. Which brings me to a final thought I want to leave you with today. Something to mull over on your own that builds on what Jürgen Lehnert has laid out here.
Let's hear it.
So we've discussed the undeniable scientific fact that our physical bodies are quite literally 99.999% empty space. And the text points out that the most powerful transformative part of this entire meditation is the empty zero space between your breaths.
The physical realization of the vacuum.
Right. So if this text is right, could it be that the ultimate observer, that true eternal I that observes the observer, doesn't exist in the solid parts of you at all?
Oh, that's an interesting shift.
We spend our entire lives trying to fix or improve or understand the 0.001% of us that is solid matter. We obsess over our brains, our physical bodies, our tangibility. But what if your true consciousness, your actual eternal essence, resides entirely in the emptiness?
That is a perspective shift that completely changes the way you look at yourself in the mirror.
Yeah.
You realize you aren't the physical reflection staring back at you. You are the space between the glass and the eye.
I love that. What if the emptiness isn't a dark void where you don't exist? What if the emptiness is the only place you truly do exist?
That's a lot to process.
It's definitely something to think about the next time you take a deep breath. Or, more accurately, the next time you pause in the stillness between them. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into the I Am meditation. We hope you get the chance to find your own zero space today. Take care, everyone.